So, I mean, I have to ask you this. You're here at a time when I think the city has never been more broken than it is today and at this time. And there's so many young women and men out there on the streets protesting against, clearly, what is a violation of their right to live. How do you feel?
This is not an evening for speeches. And that is why irrespective of his insistence, I said, let me just limit myself to a conversation. I think the tragedy of this evening is multifold. You're in a city where I have part of my ancestry. We celebrate Devi. We are here to celebrate unique women, their achievements. We are here to celebrate their lives, but we do it in the shadow of death. We are here to celebrate their kindness, their journey, but we are here in the shadow of brutality. Now the dichotomy is, can you truly celebrate? But then the question is that not what perpetrators of crime want? That you don't celebrate a woman's potential, that you don't celebrate a woman's tenacity, that you don't celebrate her life's journey. So today we come together at a time with mixed feelings. I had the opportunity of meeting all your awardees backstage. Normally when achievers are publicly hailed, they glow. Every female achiever I saw backstage smiled but lifelessly. But what is the burden women share, irrespective of their geography? We are expected to carry on. So every achiever here, you celebrate her success, her contribution. Imagine the time she has been alone. Imagine the time that she has failed. Imagine the time when she was told, you can't do this. Imagine the time she was humiliated, she was laughed at. I was in two minds, hoping to tell Prabhu, sir, don't call this the Devi Awards anymore. Because women across the country say, just let us live. Not be brutalized only because we want to go to work. Not look over our shoulders when we sit in a cab or take a bag and hide our chest and our bottoms. That's all women want to do, irrespective of their age. You showed my mother's clip, and I think every woman here must have been told by her mother somewhere or the other in her life's journey, don't go out at night, don't go after sunset, don't laugh too much, smile too much.
Or attract attention to yourself.
Don't smile too much, don't laugh too much at work. Don't talk back if somebody is trying to hound you. The question is, has that advice changed for women of my generation when we look at young girls? It has not. So I am, for the first time, my association with the Devi Award is old, it's not new. I always come to this platform with a sense of joy. It is for the first time that I come with a broken heart.
And I think the broken heart is mirrored in the audience and elsewhere as well.
As a politician, when we discussed the law a decade ago, I was there as a political activist on the state, on the streets with the mother of Nirbhaya for years on end. My question is, how many more candle marches do we need? It is not about our region, our religion, our politics. Whoever raped that woman never asked her who she voted for, never asked her what her religion was. She was raped because she was a woman. So I think the sense of rage that you feel in the country, you have in your opening remarks said, feed the rage. The question is, for how many more generations of women are we continue to sustain the rage? I also believe, as somebody who's been in a court of law, standing unnamed, yet known to everybody in a court of law, that Smriti Irani is standing there, with 4 men as perpetrators of the crime that I'm trying to bring them to book to close to now a decade. And I did that even as a minister. I stood there in court. Imagine what a rape victim has to go through to relive that brutality every time she appears in court, every time an investigator comes to her. How many girls report molestation, eve teasing, all because they just don't want to get harassed? How many women at work say, "Jaane de," when somebody would just put that hand on that shoulder inappropriately and it is not done? So I think that while, and this is to all the lady achievers who will come on stage today, you are a reason for many young girls to celebrate potential. Keep fighting the good fight. Imagine they are dancers, they are singers, they are actors amongst you, media personalities. Women are also humiliated because of the vocation they have. An actress is not supposed to have a point of view that is valid. A singer is not supposed to be given the dignity that she deserves. A filmmaker is told, tell a story which rings the cash registers and does not tell the stories of human grief or potential. So for me, Kaveri, this is the first time I come broken. I have fought the fights on the street and in parliament. And I still have to find something inside me to tell women who listen to me, carry on, because there is a generation of young women who are turning to me and say, for how long? For how long? And there's nobody in this audience who can give any young woman, old woman, a definite answer to that. Because a woman is getting raped at 60, at 30, at 6, at 12, at 20, at 30, 40. There is no limit to her age. There is no limit to the brutality. I am at a crossroad of life where I have to look at a generation of young girls. And all of us in the room are being asked by those young girls, how long?
In fact, that was going to be my question. What do you tell women of the next generation? What hope can we hold out for them?
That don't be ashamed if you're a victim of violence. That don't be ashamed to speak out when somebody is inappropriate. You will be called adjust nahi karti. You will be called arrogant. You will be called difficult. I say hell with it. So don't stop. And if you want to help a woman, a young girl, help her find a good lawyer, help her find a good counselor, help her find support within her family, within her society. That's the greatest help you can give a young woman or any woman who's a victim of violence. Help her get back on her feet. There is a lot of sympathy, a lot of conversation when a crime is discovered. But the horror persists as long as the case persists in a court of law. So if you know such a victim who's had the courage to report a crime and to fight it in a court of law, can you find the time to go and stand with her when she's been questioned in a court about not only the crime, but also what she was wearing, what she was doing, how many men she knows, what was she doing at that time of the day, at that precise location. If you can find that, to just stand there with her, to tell her, it's okay, I'm here. That's the greatest service you do for any woman.
I think that's a wonderful suggestion, and I think we should really applaud that, because I empathize with what you're saying. I think the kind of, it's almost an invisible stripping of the woman in a court of law.
It is not invisible when it is in court.
It's visible.
because I have been stripped in court.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, it happens, does not matter. Imagine a doctor brutalized. A generation of women were told that get a good job and everything will be okay. Become a doctor, an engineer, a mantri, and everything will be okay. I have to turn to a generation to say it does not end.
Would you like to tell us a little more about your own experience?
No,
No, not at this moment.
no, because
But-
every woman in this room has a story.
Oh, yes, that is true. I don't think there's a single woman who's not
Every
been
woman in this
subjected to
room
it.
has a story. Some speak about it, some don't speak about it. And when you start speaking, you suddenly realize, oh, even she went through it. So today is also a day to celebrate women who, irrespective of their struggles, had the courage to speak up and say, this was done to me. Because as a woman achieves more, her silence becomes more evident. So if people think they are unnerved because you speak, I say speak, hell with them. If people think that you are being too aggressive pursuing justice for yourself or somebody else, do it. You have one life. Live with it, with your own conviction, with your head held high, and say, I wanted to live it this way.
What I think we've spoken a lot about women. What do we do about the men?
Why are women supposed to do something about the men? That is my question.
Why can't they do something about themselves?
Why? Every conversation comes to what should men do? What are they, kids? Have you ever seen a victim of a crime and her supporters telling what men should do? Don't they know? Kaveri, I just met people outside and I said, a woman after doing 36 hours of duty, how many of us who do not have possibly a life where you've had the luxury of going back home in your own car, honestly tell me how many of us can go to sleep in a taxi if we are alone in the cab? How many women here today have traveled in a bus, a tram, a train, if they're traveling alone on a train journey, not slept the whole night? Not because they were protecting their suitcase, but because they were protecting some part of themselves which they didn't want felt up. How many women on a train or in a public space don't go to the loo? So I think that, is the law tougher? Yes. The penalty is death. How tough could we have gotten? The penalty for rape is life imprisonment till the rapist is alive.
So is it just that we don't adhere to the law, we take it casually, or we just...
Do you think it was casual that a mob came and broke the hospital down? Do you think, can you imagine the parent had to put up a petition in the High Court saying 150 mg of semen in my daughter's body? Can you just imagine the parent who signed that petition? Who is shown the daughter's body and finds pelvis broken, legs broken, eyes bleeding, vagina bleeding. And the strength of those parents to say, I don't want compensation, I want justice. And that is why I say, let's forget the tera rape versus mera rape wala politics. Just look at the victim. Can you imagine that parent signing that document as to what they saw when they first saw their daughter dead? everybody who is standing up now needs to keep the vigil on. Because those who don't want you to stand up want the noise to die down and for you to forget. Question is, how many more do we have to forget?
"12 years ago, we were in the same situation with Nirbhaya.
Like I said, the law got tougher. It is the death penalty. A rapist went home and went to sleep. Protesters got attacked. So still, my apologies to all the female achievers who are here today. This was supposed to be your evening. But I'm sure everybody that I met backstage feels the rage. But let me tell them, they are somebody's hope, they are somebody's inspiration. And irrespective of all the challenges, it is incumbent upon us to find more and more women who have achieved and who have lived to showcase their achievement.
And who've talked about their challenges openly. I think that's very important because it isn't easy.
I celebrate the achievers because they are alive.
Yeah. That in itself says something.
No, they are alive in many aspects, not only their breath, but they are alive in their craft. They are alive in their contribution. Their life is not limited to their physical self. They are alive in their journeys, in the inspiration that they are.
Let's change tacks a little and ask you about your stint as Women and Child Development Minister.
Don't get the
a little
politics
bit.
in.
No, a little bit. I want to know that you achieved a lot. You from a food atlas to the Center for Women's Leadership. Is there something that you felt was left undone?
Never. What I wanted to do, I did. They say a man's got to do what a man's got to do. A woman's got to do what a man can't. So I did.
I think that's very well said.
Well, that's not my quote, that's somebody else's.
But originality is highly overrated. Originality is the art of concealing sources, by the way.
No, somebody who's had a creative background and understands the promise of IPR, let's give the credit where it's due.
You've also fought many battles. Some
Yes.
you've won, some you've lost. What has the biggest learning for you been?
I think that not every battle can be won. But what you can do is walk away from a battle still with a human heart throbbing, with still your values intact. What is interesting is, in my life's journey, I have realized those on the battlefield say, "Ye wapis aayegi." And I think that reflects how I'm perceived by those who seek to battle with me. When you have the respect of your competitor and your enemy, or whoever chooses to battle with you, I think that is life's greatest glory. Because when you go into battle, there is a lot of animosity.
Yeah.
But when you walk away from the battlefield and you still have your competitor's respect, I think that truly is an achievement for a soldier.
What gives you so much courage? What gives you sustenance? I mean, there must be moments when you feel hopeless.
No.
No? Are there any dark moments
I'm a
in
woman.
Smriti?
I'm a woman. I can't afford to be hopeless. I've had, Kaveri, the greatest of blessings of God. I have seen New Delhi from the footpath as a child of a bookseller, and I have seen the national capital from the Rashtrapati Bhavan with Draupadi Murmu. Nobody in 48 years has had such a splendid journey. The issue is that this is just the first step of the ladder. There is much more to life and to live.
Which brings me to my obvious question. What is the next chapter in Smriti?
Well, I'll let you know when I'm done writing it, so that you can read it splendidly.
But what is the focus going to be? What are you going to do now? Which battle are you going to pick for yourself?
Like I said, my 2.5-decade career in the media has taught me to keep my friends in the media on the tenterhooks. So this is an evening for female achievers, for women who have inspired, and also a tribute to women who have been awarded before on this very platform.
You've attended one such thing.
I have. I've had the privilege of standing with such achievers shoulder to shoulder. It is another blessing that I consider I've had in my life. There was a time in our society when women achievers were not aplenty. The fact that today your folder is 2-page gives me hope that very soon the next award will have 3 pages filled with achievers who will be celebrated on this podium.
Wonderful. Smriti Irani talked of keeping the media on its toes. I have to tell you that my big toe is broken, so maybe I won't be on my toes.
And I'm not responsible for it. Let it be clarified.
Mr. Chawla, would you like to ask Ms. Irani a question?
No, he has survived me in 8 interviews. I think he's done with interviewing me. He does not have the gumption to survive the 9th.
But it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you and to understand what drives you and motivates you. And I was wondering, that 18-year-old who went to Mumbai, just not listening to anyone and said that I'm going to do what I have to do, would she do it again the same way?
Absolutely. I am what I am because of my successes, my failures, and all the botheration in between.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll get back to the rest of the ceremony. I'll go back to my position on
with your broken toe?
Yes, with my big toe. Thank you so much.